Hey guys, welcome again to another episode of Chit Chat with Honest. As you guys know, my name is Oyindamala, popularly known as Honest. And today, I have two guest speakers with me from my right hand side and from my left hand side. Let's start from my right hand side. Please introduce yourself, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. My name is Taiwo Favor. So I'm a speaker. I love motivational talks and all that, growing youth and teaching people about lifestyle.
Alright, thank you, ma. And from my left hand side, please introduce yourself, ma.
My name is Moropada.
Okay. Anything you do?
I love writing.
Alright. So guys, on last week episode, we discussed something very vital. We talked on Christianity, we talked on adding value and a lot of things. But today we are talking on a very critical topic. It's not a topic like that, but it says the waiting room. I mean, what do you guys do in your waiting room? As far as I'm concerned, my guest speakers, the waiting room is not easy actually. It's not a place you just stay there, just stay there just to catch fun. Mr. Iwo, can you just enlighten us more about the waiting room? What you feel the waiting room is about?
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm here to talk about waiting room. Waiting room is actually a time of process. You know, you can't just do anything. If you do things without process, the result may not be what you want. But when you go through process, you will arrive at the destination you supposed to arrive at. I don't know, maybe someone is getting me. Waiting room is just time of process. I will be talking about youth of nowadays. What we need is actually waiting room, but people don't want to stay in the waiting room. They don't want to be processed. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
People don't want to be processed. That's why you see people, they want to get rich in 5 minutes. People want to become whatever they are proposed to become in 5 minutes.
But it is good.
I'm telling you, it is good to become what you want to become, but there is a place of process. And life must go through that process. It must go through that phases.
Alright, ma'am.
Alright.
Sorry, you will still continue later.
Thank
And
you, ma'am.
Miss Moropada, I understand, just as she said, I understand that waiting room has to do with being processed, tarrying in the place of prayer. But then, you know, often at times it's not easy to tarry. I don't know, as Christians, at times we pray for something and God, is God not answering, or what is happening exactly? What is your perception about things to do in the waiting room?
Okay, thank you once again.
You're welcome.
I actually think this is something we all have issues with. It is something that has to do with patience. When it is not immediately God gives you a vision that it is going to happen. When God gives you something, you also need to ask for the process.
You don't just jump at it.
Yes. You know, I read the Kenneth Hagin's book and I got something from there. Whenever God gives you something to work on, you don't just go straight. That might not be the time for action.
There's time
God
for everything, yeah.
will take you through different processes, through stages before you get to that place of manifestation. So I feel we have that issue. We don't know how to wait upon the Lord. That is why we have the waiting room.
Yeah. And then left alone about that, I realized that people feel the waiting room is only about maritals. You know, when you say tarry in the waiting room, people think it is just about you praying about your life partner, God, my marriage this, my marriage that. But then over the years, I realized that waiting room is more than just tarrying for marital's issue. It is more than that.
Yes.
I mean, what is your perception about that?
Okay, thank you very much, man. When you are in waiting room, your waiting room can be on different phases of life. Marriage is a phase of life. We have financial phase of life. We have academical phase of. So we have spiritual and all that. So waiting room can be on anything. Like some people, like spiritual aspect now. Some people, they want to become pastor and they want to start manifesting immediately without going through process. Like finance now, we want to get rich. Like youth of nowadays now, we want to be rich in 5 minutes without going through process. Marriage also it has waiting room.
So what you are
So
trying to say now is, sorry to cut you short, what you are trying to say now is that it is not only about the marital aspect that you
it's
should
about
focus on.
every areas of our life.
Every
We
area,
must
even
focus
our
on it.
finance, whatever
Yes,
thing
even
it
in
is.
our career, maybe in your career job, you don't just want to become the boss.
Yeah, Miss
In
Moroboda.
5 minutes or like that. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. Miss Moroboda, taking a look at Job's life. I'm very sure you are very, very conversant with the Bible. You've read, everyone has read about Job in the Bible. And then if you look at Job's life, his life is a very challenging life. Like something that you look at and you're like, God, how can a man be so upright like this? Is it that, what should we say about Job as regards his waiting room? You know, there were times that, is it that, you know, in the waiting room, God shows you a lot of things in the waiting room. Is it that Job doesn't know that all these things were going to happen to him? Or was it that he wasn't prepared? Or what do you think would have happened? Because definitely, I'm very sure God would have showed him all these things, that these things were going to happen.
Well, it's not always like that. You see, as Christians,
Okay.
there are times we pass through trials and temptations. It is not every time God will tell you this morning, as you are going out, one man will slap your face. Act like you did not see him and walk away. It is not every time that happens. But then you might see something, we pass through different situations. God, it is not recorded in the Bible that God told him that, so we cannot
just predict like
yes. So, but what I feel is, when God told the devil that, when God vouched for him in the presence of the devil, God recommended him as his child. You see, it means that there is this kind of realm he has gotten to. There's this kind of relationship he has with God, that God knows that no matter what you do to him, he will still remain my child. No matter what you do to me, you will continue to serve me.
So even if he had failed the tests,
God knew from the beginning.
So that's the question I think we should ask ourselves. Okay. That can God recommend us? That can God really vouch for us that this person, I am so much proud of this person, that whatever temptation comes this person's way, he or she will sail through.
Okay, let me talk about that. The way you look at your waiting room and what you experience and how you turn to your waiting room matters a lot. Yes. If you look at the life of Job, before God can recommend Job that, you see, this my son is upright, this is that, it means that Job has been tarrying with God. He has been staying with God. So before God can recommend us,
the place of fellowship,
we must stay with God. Are we staying with God? That's the first question to ask.
Do you have anything to say concerning that?
Yeah, actually. You see, there's no where. Okay, I think where the book of Job started from. Okay, let me leave Job now. Let me leave this area of Job, because we already know that God recommended him. We should know that, as she has said, there is a place in which he tarried. So let us look at it in this aspect. Even Jesus Christ, when he was passing through trials and when he was about to be crucified, you see, he prayed. He took the disciples to a place
of prayer,
and there he prayed. There is a place in which, in the waiting room, you pour out your heart to God. There is nothing you don't tell him. So Jesus saw this situation.
You are not hiding
what
yourself.
Can I
just
do? I am a man. I am not a spirit. Yes.
There is no pretense there that God, please.
God,
you just want God to see you.
This is God. This is
me.
You see,
I am daughter.
I watched a video.
Alright.
I think it was Lawrence Oyo. He said, if the secret room is a place in which you cry. When you are praying with everybody, you might not want to show this weakness. You might not want to you might not want everybody to know that you are passing through situations. But in your secret room, if you are still masking, then such a person should check his or her life.
Because in the secret room, you are just left to free yourself of those burdens.
Exactly.
That is what is me.
Your heart.
And that is why this GUC song says, Lord, it is me, the one you want, Lord. You are just there. God, this is just me. This is my weakness. I am this, I am that. This is just me. And then I think that is what most people don't know about being in the secret room. However, before we round it up, can you share your experience each of probably any time you've been in the waiting room, things you experienced, anything that you can use to motivate someone out there? Someone might be passing through this waiting period, thinking, God, are you saying anything? There's something called silence. I think silence frustrates us a lot as Christians.
Yes.
We're in the waiting. I'm serious. You're in the waiting room. You've been praying about something, and then God is not saying anything. God, what are you saying exactly? You're expecting God to show you dreams, to show you visions, yet nothing is showing forth. God is just keeping quiet. At times, what does the silence mean? We confuse this silence at times.
Yes.
Is it that God is in support?
Okay.
Or God is against this thing? You're confused at what exactly. So I need you to share your experiences about any time you've been in the waiting room and elaborate just to motivate someone out today.
Okay, before I talk about my personal lifestyle, what I will first say is that when you are in waiting room, it is God, and you it seem as if God is not speaking. You didn't hear God, you are not seeing anything. And when when you see vision, you see revelations, it will motivate you that I still know that God is with me in this journey. Are you getting me?
Because at that point, sorry to cut you short, because someone that has been seeing visions and dreams since that moment, they are not in the waiting room. It will not be as if nothing is coming.
Yes.
And you're like, God, what is up? You see, am I seeing a line?
Yes.
Okay.
That time is actually called the silent time in waiting room. Silence time in waiting room. And that silent time, God is actually speaking. Are we getting me? But what led to us is that we must understand the voice of silence. When it seems as if God is not speaking, we must understand the voice. Those silent time, God is saying some things. Are you getting me? But what we base on is that maybe I just want to dream, I want to see visions, I want revelation. But there are times that God will speak to you through instances. Maybe you might be passing a street and you will just see some things. It might even be leaves. Are you getting me? And God will speak to you through that.
So can you share any experience so far?
According to my experience now, though staying in waiting room has not been easy. You will pray, it will look as if what is going on and all that. So my experience is that it has not been easy, and by the special grace of God, part of my waiting room, God has been doing great things because I did not compromise. I stand on Him. I stay with God.
Any challenge so far?
The challenge so far is that people will be like, you are a Christian, things supposed to be working well
and
with
people
you.
are so swift to say things like that.
I'm telling you, my sister, they will be like, you are a Christian, you pray. Yes, we pray. But God is actually doing something. So by the special grace of God, part of my waiting, God has given me testimonies.
Alright, Miss Mokoda, anything you have to say about your experience so far in the waiting room and challenges that you might have faced?
Okay, so there was this time I was writing an exam.
Okay.
Coupled with that exam, I started another program that I would write the exam, I think, a month after, in the midst of the first exam. So I started reading, and honestly, I did not really have interest in that second exam. I was going to drop it, but I discovered that the processes had been completed, so I had to do it. And I started committing it to God in prayer. I'm not this kind of person that sees, I don't know, but maybe I've not been attentive enough. But I don't think I'm this kind of person that sees visions.
Okay. So you don't believe in some things like that.
I believe
in it,
but I don't think but personally,
kind of vision type like that.
Yes, but I have this assurance that whenever I pray, there is always God has answered. There is always Morocco, don't worry, God has done it.
So it's not about you seeing vision to give you guarantee.
So this time around, I continued. One of my teachers told me, he gave me this particular range. He said, "This is what you must get." See, I read, I prayed, because at times I would just sit down, or I would sleep. Like at times I would sit down and read. It wasn't easy at all. Because at least I know that those times I would have used it to do unnecessary things. But I have to sit down and read. And I prayed, because inside of me, this thing cannot be a waste. It must not be a waste.
Yes.
And then that particular time, I went for the examination. The first part, the first day, I was like, oh God. Even my examiner had a code. So like, how would the results be? Hey. Then I ended it. We came back and one of my teachers asked again, the same one. He said, Morokweda, this is what I'm expecting. And I told him,
Oh my God.
even inside of me, I was like, hey, God, what's this? Because people in the examination hall, they were, after we submitted, they were like, they've read some maybe wrote it twice or 3 times before. And me, that was my first
That
time.
was your first time of writing.
I was waiting.
That expectancy was
See,
there. That okay.
It wasn't even really. But then that particular morning, it was time for the results. Hey, I called my mom. Have you seen the results? No. Like inside of me, I already told the teacher, sir, this is what I will get. Even though I had doubts, but I know I serve a living God.
Yeah.
And the God that like helps me to understand, because in the midst of an exam, understanding will not come easily.
Yes.
So when I saw the results, I was like, God. No, seriously. I took the phone. I could not stop smiling.
Because
I took the phone. I went out. I showed the teacher. He said, he shouted.
Wow.
He said, Mara, see, I was so happy. But I actually got to know them. Assuming I had like felt that I can do this thing. Assuming I did not commit it to God. Assuming I did not like fully trust in God to teach me to understand. I don't think I would have gotten up to half of what I got.
And yeah, lastly, let me share my own experience also. One thing I want everybody to understand is that, first of all, when you're in the waiting room, don't think it will be an easy, smooth ride like that.
Yes.
It can never be. In fact, it is at that time that people will keep on offending you, especially if you are trying to work on a particular aspect of your life, probably character, or you are purchasing something or pursuing anything. It's at that time that distraction will come from the right, from the left, or whatever thing it is. But then stay focused. I think that is something I've learned. Stay focused. There is this particular saying, I know the God I serve. One thing I've come to realize over the years that God will never leave his children hanging. He will never leave them he will never leave them stranded. If you are looking up to God for maritals or whatever thing it is, just have that belief that regardless, even if it will take time, God will definitely answer. So the waiting room is not an easy smooth ride that you should be expecting. Expect challenges, expect everything. But then just like Job, stand firm in Christ. And I can always sail through whatever thing comes. And that will be all on today's episode of Chit Chat with Audio. Join me next week on another episode with beautiful speakers once again. Once again, my name is Oyinda Mola, and with me again is, please introduce yourself.
I'm Taiwo Favor again.
And
Morokweda.
yeah, have a nice day and enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.